I think I would like to acknowledge the presence of everyone. Welcome po kayo. At napaka-taba ng puso na napakarami ang gustong makinig sa role of the arts in disaster resilience. And I would say that my role here is to talk about risk communication. And this is a topic that I have been delivering with if you're familiar with the DR MAPS course, it's a disaster mitigation, adaptation, preparedness, and mitigation strategies of the UP Diliman. This is one of the courses, GE courses in UP Diliman, which I would say we, because there are 6 of us at least teaching the course, and this has been ongoing for at least 6 years. And of course, we have been also part of the RI. And so, risk communication, and I think I would like to focus on why sometimes even advisories or bulletins are not really observed with urgency, and maybe what could we do about it. And so, in this case, I think we would like to first take a look at how sometimes there's a discrepancy between experts' view of what the disaster is, given the technical devices in measuring instruments that measure quakes or maybe even rainfall volume. And we also have local knowledge in terms of maybe interpreting this, predicting this, maybe using natural indicators. And so there's quite a discrepancy between local people's knowledge and the experts' knowledge in terms of the appreciation of these hazards. So we're talking here about hazards and the risks that are associated with these hazards. And risk communication would aim not only to be one way in terms of communication, but to be two-way in the sense that both will win in the process of communication, where local people will be enhanced in terms of their expertise in dealing with this in a technical manner, and also the scientists or the technical people knowing more about the knowledge of the local folks in appreciating and even predicting the incidence of these hazards. But what we would like to see here is that sometimes we have a problem of meaning. And I think if you would just flash this sign, you may be embroiled in some kind of controversy, no? Kaya siguro huwag na lang, ano? Huwag yung ganyan, marami, no? Baka matag tayo, no? Kaya sometimes we have this problem of meanings, and this is because the communication process, if you would just go back to this very basic model of a semiotic model of communication, we often, well, ideally, we have a communicator and a receiver. Ideally, the concept or the content of the communication material that's being communicated by the sender is the same content that is being interpreted by the receiver, and so the response is, I would say, commensurate to that type of communication. But often, this is not so because of noise in the communication channel. And this noise could be in the form of maybe technical noise like transmission problem, or maybe context problem in terms of language, maybe in terms of lifestyle, or even in the appreciation of the risk itself. Some people are more dreadful. Like for instance, I could see here that some are wearing masks, and well, most of you actually don't. I don't know if this is a problem of the lack of masks that are available for us to buy, or it's just that, well, I think that's in Parañaque or in Cebu. So maybe the dread in terms of contracting nCoV virus is not so much to us. But some, of course, would perceive this to be more dreadful than others. And this is because of lifestyle, or maybe in terms of our really appreciation of this. Maybe even for mga malalaking waves, for instance, daluyong, no? Some of us would be fearful of this, and some of us would even embrace it because it would give us some sense of adventure. So I think these are all noises, and in order for us to be able to overcome this, we might want to take a look at this, for instance, that even for color charts like this, we gravitate towards certain colors because this has been embedded to us through culture, through communications. So red would be, to us, quite, I would say, a warning sign, a very dangerous sign, moving on into this. This is from the ANSI, which is an American private company, but basically observed as a convention. But if we would like to take a look at the grayscale, what if I am not really a 100%, my visual acuity is not really 100%? What if I sense this in a desaturated way? What if I'm colorblind? Then maybe that would mean another thing. So I am just showing you on the next row here, or the second row, is a grayscale value of the same colors, but you could see that the extreme left and right would not offer us much discrimination because the value are almost the same. So even in this sense, where we observe this to be convention, could still be improved. And I just proposed on the last box here that even with the introduction of, say, another component, which is line, it could be in the line direction, line weight, line style, associated as well with the color, then that would give us better, I think, appreciation of what this means if we are challenged in terms of colors. So even for signs that we are accustomed to and that has been imposed to us, prescribed to us by law, or even conventions that are prescribed to us by industries, we could still, I think, be critical about this, see how they could be better implemented and studied and, of course, eventually changed. But we cannot change so much because that would be very, I think, incongruous to what we had been accustomed to, and we may not be able to appreciate really the sense of danger or warning that are being offered to us. And so, what I would think would be a direction, and this is what we propose to the students when we tell them to develop their materials in terms of communication. Warning systems could be, I think, divided into two parts. One would be signs where we could make them really graphic, signs that could be more across, basically more technical in terms of the sense that we could see the object that the sign is referring to. And then we also have symbols which would be more about culture, which would be more about lifestyle. So it's really more on the non-objective, but more on the perceptive values that maybe audiences would react to. And so in developing these materials, it would be something like this. The signs will be more prescriptive, they will be more normative, they will be more instructive, and it's something that we could say, hey guys, this is what you should do in case this happens. While on the other part here, we would like to develop materials as well. This would be in terms of narratives, personal stories, and what this means is that we will describe situations and how people react to these situations, how they could be more symbolic instead of more objective. And so the experience would be unique to that particular audience that the communication is referring to. So what I'm saying now is that before we develop communication materials, we have to be exposed to the particular culture, to the particular lifestyle of the audience that we would like to communicate to, so that the material that we're delivering will be received in the same sense that we had conceptualized it, and the reaction that we expect is the one intended. And so, as a last slide here, I would like to show you some of these are screenshots of video materials that are being developed by our students. And what I would like to show you here is that these are all authentic materials. They are not derived from news items that we see from our media. These are not some things that we could just copy-paste from the internet. These are really authentic materials They go to the site, they develop illustrations that are original, go to sites and interview people on the street, person on the street interview, and even conduct workshops with intended audiences. And so I think this would contribute to I would say, authentic experience and the expected output or the expected reaction from these particular audiences, if we develop materials like this, will be more according to the expected outcome that we had conceptualized for them. Thank you very much, and thank you all for listening.